This is the preview for the Conspirators July 2022 case, and it's going to be sent out on the 10th of July. The virtual tasting or the home tasting is going to be on the 14th of July. You're all probably totally parched, all the regulars, because we did send out the last case a bit early, but I hope you enjoyed it. I think having a bit of fizz in this one is really lovely idea. But anyway, the case that's coming up, it's a different case. It's the same balance, but it's a really lovely case. So we've got two wines coming from Santa Vittoria, and Santa Vittoria, we've been shipping from them since 2003. So we first visited them back then. And the thing that really drew us to this estate actually was, it was being bought by a guy called Francesco. And Francesco's daughter Marta was basically running it with him. And it's a mixed farm, and it's got some agriturismo, it's got wheat, it's got grain, it's got vines. It's got vines. And because Francesco didn't know a great deal about farming or about wine, he's a lawyer by trade. He got into bed with the wine university at Firenze, and his plantings were extraordinary. So he's got some, what's he got there? He's got some Incrocio Manzoni, which is not terribly unusual, but it's quite unusual for this. And this is the white wine that we've got. This is Matilda, which is named after Marta's daughter. And the Incrocio Manzoni has a bit of Pinot Bianco in it as well. Now, Incrocio Manzoni is Pinot Bianco crossed with Riesling, Italian Riesling, it's Italian Riesling Renano. And it does something very special. It keeps its acidity and has real focus, real power. It's pretty good wine. So it even in hot vintages, it keeps its freshness. It's just a grape that really works very well. And this one is kept on the lees for 5 months, so it just has a bit more texture, a little bit more weight, just a bit more in the mouth. It's excellent wine. So that's the white that he does. They've also got planted there some Gewürztraminer. They've got some Semillon there. They make this sweet wine called Comforta, which is they freeze the grapes. So they make it. What the Canadians call it ice wine, or but the idea is here it's made artificially. It's made in a freezer, but the quality of the wine is lovely. But what they're best for, really, or in my opinion, the two things they're best for. One is Vinsanto. And Vinsanto is the only wine in this region, so in the Arezzo region, which has a DOC. So Val di Chiana is the dog. And it's just for the Vinsanto. And the Vinsanto is made from Malvasia and from Trebbiano and from Incrocio Manzoni. Dried grapes, but while it's drying, they encourage a little bit of botrytis. So you get this remarkable richness to the wine. It's great wine. Anyway, sorry to say, I haven't got any of the Vinsanto in this case, but there might still be some left. Have a look on the website, because it's worth grabbing some if it's available. What is in here is there's a Poggio al Tempio. Now, Poggio al Tempio is red wine, and it's basically their take on Chianti. They're outside of the Chianti zone, so they can't call their wine Chianti, but it's based on Sangiovese, and the additional two other grapes are Foggiatonda and Punitello. Now, they were doing this way before it became fashionable. Now it's quite fashionable to blend in with these native varieties of Tuscany. But these are two of the varieties which were recommended that they experiment with. And their Punitello is doing a fantastic job. Foggiatonda I'm not quite so convinced by, but there's no doubt it works in this blend. You know, it's a blending grape rather than Impurezza, rather than the straight 100% wine grape. But very little barrel on this, or large, it's large barrel, it's Botti Grandi, but nothing that's flavouring the wine in the Poggio al Tempio. It's made for early drinking, and it's just fantastic. It's got that slight Sangiovese, sour cherry fruit. Just goes so well with food. It's brilliant wine. Then the other two wines that we've got for this quarter are, one's from Andrea Faccio, and this is Barbera. We don't usually buy this Barbera. This is the Ayan, which it's a little bit like the Suri, but the quality is just a bit higher. So he gives it a bit more tank aging. It's all stainless steel. And he's just going for a tiny bit more structure, a little bit more volume, just a bit more mouthfeel, a bit more pucker to it. So this is, for me, Barbera is a passport to great Italian wine. I absolutely adore it. And this one is so fresh, so clean, so lovely. And I bought it because I love the 18. I think the 18 is just one of the great Barbera vintages. I know it's taken a bit of a slagging for the Nebbiolo, but I don't know why. There's no reason. Maybe it was too much ripeness, but there's nothing wrong. You know, the ripeness here worked. It's a beautiful, beautiful wine. Anyway, Barbera is fantastic. Andrea's done a brilliant job. Highly recommended. And the other wine we've got, so we've got, just to recap where I was, because I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. The Matilda, so that's Incrocio Manzoni, that's white wine number 1. Ayan from Villeggiata, red wine number 1. Poggio al Tempio from Santa Vittoria, red wine number 2. And white wine number 2 is Cantina del Mare, and it's a Falanghina. Now, brand new. I've never bought from Cantina. This is the first shipment, hoping it arrives in time. And this is just, Gennaro is just on the peninsula to the north of Naples. And it's an extraordinary cantina. It's 10 hectares in total, but all the vineyards are spread out. And it's mixed in amongst, well, there's sort of volcano in the middle of the peninsula. And the vineyards, none of them are larger than a couple of hectares. So they're really spread out, and they're in amongst the residential area as well. They're right on the coast. Very, very old vines. And Falanghina is interesting, actually. And the DOC for this region, it's called Campo Flegrei. So it's just very, very, very different. And Falanghina has this sort of salt intensity, but generous fruit as well. So it gives you, it's kind of turbocharged Muscadet, Picpoul, that sort of thing. Take those sort of flavors and then just ramp them up by a couple of notches. Add in this sort of saline freshness to the wine. It's almost seas, like being in the sea. It's just fantastic wine. Very clean on the finish, very long, very high quality wine. I mean, actually, this case has been sort of mushed around to make space for this particular wine because I really wanted to squeeze it in there. It's a new one for us. I want it to do very, very well. I want you to love it. And I'd be fascinated to see what you think about it. I'm looking forward to the virtual tasting already. So the virtual tasting, as I said, for those of you who are automatically getting it, fantastic. I will see you on Thursday, the 14th of July. For those of you who aren't, please either buy one online. Just if you're not a member of our wine club, just you can buy it. It's sitting there on the website. So just log on, buy it. And it'll be down as Conspirators July tasting, home tasting kit, something like that. Or just phone me up, do it all for you. Or if you're a wine club member, of course, get a discount on it, and that can come in freely shipped with the rest of your wine. So great option. It's a really interesting case. So it's Piemonte, Tuscany, and Campania. So we're spreading ourselves around a little bit. Really interesting wines, mixture of class. Well, they're all really, well, 3 of them very classic, old school sort of style. Sangiovese. You know, the Incrocio Manzoni is a bit newer, but it's the Falanghina is so ancient. This is one of Italy's oldest vines, and Barbera. This is one of the pillars on which Italian wine is built. So fantastic case wine. Really hope you enjoy it. Look forward to seeing you. Got your dates. See you soon.